The following information, material, and content discussed and presented is covered under fair use. This is not intended to be, nor to be construed as, financial advice, tax advice, nor legal advice. If you need any applicable advice, please seek a licensed professional. To Be Fruitful Training Group assumes no liability for any actions you take using this information, as additional due diligence is required. All rights, titles, and actions or interests reserved ab initio without prejudice. Hey everyone, this is B with To Be Fruitful Training Group. All praises to the Most High. And today I'm covering declaratory relief. So, declaratory relief is a legal procedure whereby a court clarifies the rights and obligations of parties in a dispute without ordering any specific action or awarding damages, essentially providing a, quote, legal crystal ball to resolve uncertainties before a full lawsuit is necessary. What is its purpose? Declaratory relief aims to settle legal controversies by defining the rights and responsibilities of parties, preventing future disputes or conflicts. How it works. Parties can seek a declaratory judgment to clarify their legal standing, such as in contract disputes, intellectual property issues, or insurance coverage. Its key features are that it is preventative. It's used to resolve uncertainties before a full lawsuit is filed, acting as a, quote, preventative justice tool. It is non-coercive, so unlike other remedies, it doesn't order parties to take specific actions or pay damages. It simply declares the legal rights and obligations of the parties. And it is binding. Declaratory judgments are legally binding and can be used as evidence in future proceedings. Contract disputes. A party can seek a declaratory judgment to clarify the terms of a contract and their rights and obligations. Insurance disputes. An insured party can seek a declaratory judgment to determine if an insurance company has a duty to cover a claim. So, if the insurance company does have a duty, then they would be the surety with regards to whatever specific performance they are obligated to under the contract. And intellectual property disputes. An alleged infringer can seek a declaratory judgment to clarify the validity of a patent or trademark. Good to know. So its legal basis on the public side within the United States is the Declaratory Judgment Act, 28 U.S.C., subsection 2201, which authorizes federal courts to issue declaratory judgments in cases of actual controversy. Many states also have similar laws or rules governing declaratory relief. When it's used, well, it's used when there's a dispute over legal rights or obligations, but there's no immediate need for a court order for specific actions or damages, when parties want to resolve all the uncertainties before there's any lawsuit actually filed, and when parties want to avoid potential future disputes or conflicts. So we have Cornell law, declaratory relief. Declaratory relief refers to a court's declaratory judgment stating the rights of parties without ordering any specific action or listing awards or damages. Declaratory relief allows a party who is not certain of his rights to prevent the accrual of avoidable damages and to obtain an adjudication before the parties bring a coercive lawsuit. One of those would be specific performance. Declaratory relief can be contrasted with coercive relief, where the court orders a party to pay monetary damages or take certain action under injunctive relief. When a party is requesting a declaratory judgment, the party is seeking an official declaration regarding the status of the controversy in issue. Moreover, the point is that the resolution of the declared rights of all parties involved will hopefully prevent further escalation of the conflict or even further litigation. A plaintiff seeking declaratory relief must show that there is an actual controversy, even though declaratory relief will not order enforceable action against the defendant. An actual controversy means there is a connection between the challenged conduct and injury and redressability that the court could order. An example of this in a case involving contracts would be a party seeking an interpretation of the contract to determine their rights. Another example would be an insured individual seeking a specific determination of their rights and surrounding circumstances regarding insurance coverage under a specific policy. And the Declaratory Judgment Act is a federal statute that authorizes declaratory relief. The Declaratory Judgment Act provides that a court, upon the filing of an appropriate pleading, may issue a declaratory judgment in, quote, a case of actual controversy within its jurisdiction. 28 U.S.C. subsection 2201A. Therefore, a federal court has discretion whether to exercise jurisdiction over a declaratory judgment action. In analyzing whether to exercise jurisdiction, the court must determine at the outset whether the court has jurisdiction under Article 3, Section 2, by evaluating whether the complaint alleges an actual controversy. And as another resource, we have this right here. Declaratory judgment says basically the same thing, but makes two mentions. It says a declaratory judgment does not have preclusive effect if a later lawsuit involves issues other than those specifically litigated and ruled on in a declaratory judgment action, or a party sought other relief in addition to declaratory relief, such as injunctive relief in the declaratory judgment action. And for further illustration, we will look to California. Now, California has codified their statutes regarding declaratory relief under the Code of Civil Procedure, Chapter 8, Section 1060 through 1062.5. So, reading from the following: any person interested under a written instrument, excluding a will or trust, or under a contract, or who desires a declaration of his or her rights or duties with respect to another, or in respect to, in, over, or upon property, or with respect to the location of the natural channel of a watercourse, may, in cases of actual controversy relating to the legal rights and duties of the respective parties, bring an original action or cross-complaint in the Superior Court for a declaration of his or her rights and duties in the premises, including a determination of any question of construction or validity arising under the instrument or contract. He or she may ask for a declaration of rights or duties, either alone or with other relief, and the court may make a binding declaration of these rights or duties, whether or not further relief is or could be claimed at the time. The declaration may be either affirmative or negative in form and effect, and the declaration shall have the force of a final judgment. The declaration may be had before there has been any breach of the obligation in respect to which said declaration is sought. Any individual claiming to be a non-resident of the state of California for the purposes of the personal income tax law may commence an action in the Superior Court in the County of Sacramento, or in the County of Los Angeles, or in the County of or in the City and County of San Francisco, against the Franchise Tax Board to determine the fact of his or her residence in this state under the conditions and circumstances set forth in Section 19381 of the Revenue and Taxation Code. The court may refuse to exercise the power granted by this chapter in any case where its declaration or determination is not necessary or proper at the time under all the circumstances. The remedies provided by this chapter are cumulative and shall not be construed as restricting any remedy, provisional or otherwise, provided by law for the benefit of any party to such action, and no judgment under this chapter shall preclude any party from obtaining additional relief based upon the same facts, except as provided in subdivision B. Actions brought under the provisions of this chapter shall be set for trial at the earliest possible date and shall take precedence over all other cases, except older matters of the same character and matters to which special precedence may be given by law. B. Any action brought under the provisions of this chapter in which the plaintiff seeks any relief, in addition to a declaration of rights and duties, shall take such precedence only upon noticed motion and a showing that the action requires a speedy trial. Any insurer who issues policies of professional liability insurance to healthcare providers or professional negligence, as defined in Chapter 1, as amended by Chapter 2, Statutes of 1975, Second Extraordinary Session, any healthcare provider covered by such a policy, or any potentially aggrieved person, may bring an action in the Superior Court for a declaration of its, his, or her rights, duties, and obligations under Chapter 1 as amended by Chapter 2, Statutes of 1975, Second Extraordinary Session. The Court shall permit any of the following persons to intervene in the action: the Attorney General, number 1, and number 2, any other person whose appearance is determined by the Court to be essential to a complete determination or settlement of any issues in the action. The action shall be commenced in the Superior Court in the county in which the Attorney General is required to reside and keep his office pursuant to Section 1060 of the Government Code. The action shall be set for trial at the earliest possible date and shall take precedence over all cases other than those in which the state is a party. The Court may make a binding declaration of the rights, duties, and obligations of the insurer, whether or not further relief is or could be claimed at the time. The declaration may be affirmative or negative in form and effect and shall have the force and effect of a final judgment. If the declaration is appealed, the appeal shall be given precedence in the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court and placed on the calendar in the order of its date and issue immediately following cases in which the state is a party. The remedy established by this section is cumulative and shall not be construed as restricting any other remedy established for the benefit of any party to the action by any other provision of law. No declaration under this section shall preclude any party from obtaining additional relief based upon the same facts. So this is the example of California's. So they've set forth, this is generally something that's not only sought by itself. Most of the time when you see just an action for declaratory relief, it's either with regards to a trust, usually the rights and duties under a contract because there's some kind of ambiguity, or something similar along those lines. Usually there's some type of vague circumstances that it's questionable as to what is supposed to take place. These are generally the circumstances where you see action solely for declaratory relief. It's not as common as generally other things because, like it said, it is cumulative. Generally, you combine it with other actions and coercive relief, like an order compelling a party to, do or make specific performance good, especially under a contract. So generally you don't really see it just by itself, although it does happen. So this does, it's gonna be mostly similar, but again, wherever you're looking to enforce or to obtain some particular thing or remedy or relief in law, again, remedies are, at law, and relief is in equity. And believe it or not, there are courts at law that have powers of equity. That's the only reason why, is a, how would you put this? That's the only reason why there's essentially the unification of statutory equity and at-law statutory provisions. So, again, there is private equity and there is statutory equity. There is a difference. So, I hope this has shed light on what declaratory relief is and some of the circumstances where it is gone into use and why it is even employed in the first place. So this is something that you will want to study, especially with regards to trusts, because when the court declares that there's a trust, then there are certain rights and obligations that must be upheld with regards to, outside parties and breach. So there are many different applications for declaratory relief, but it's essentially a tool to get rid of ambiguity in legal writings, equitable writings, and agreements between the parties. So this is something very effective and something that you should definitely look into. So again, this is not legal advice, not tax advice, not financial advice. If you'd like to set up a one-on-one call, to discuss private matters and see, kind of a game plan, this is what you need to do. Please, I have those available. Set one up and just let me know. We'll figure out a time that works best for both of us. If you'd like to set up a trust or you'd like me to assist with that, I do have services available for that as well. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tune in to the exclusive equity live discussion on Telegram. There's no charge to join the group. It is going to be exclusively on Telegram. So we do have, I think, the recordings of the calls as well. And that we go over, administration of estates, moving your estate over to the private, and other equitable remedies. There are remedies and processes that I have that are exclusively private that cannot even be talked about in the public in any form. And for that, I have my private classes on Fridays. So if you'd like to join that, please let me know. They are advanced. So if you want to know, about the minor accounts, settlement of the different accounts, as far as how you do that and other different remedies, please check that out. So I hope I've provided a good insight as to at least an introduction into declaratory relief. Again, this is something that you'll see as a common theme, especially if you're new to this space, if you're studying law or you're representing yourself. So other than that, there's many different applications for this type of thing, and the best applications for this will be dependent upon the type of relief that you actually need. So bear this in mind. This is just one form of relief, and usually it's combined with others. So that being said, all praises to the Most High. This is B with To Be Fruitful Training Group. Thank y'all for listening and tuning in. Please let me know what y'all think in the comments. Send this to other people that y'all know. And thank y'all so much.